Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The unbeaten American Adam Kownacki has slugged his way to a victory, a unanimous points decision over Charles Martin on the Danny Garcia and Sean Porter undercard, winning on all three cards 96-94. And this was quite an interesting fight because for the first half of the fight, it was all Adam Kownacki. And then when he started to tire, Charles Martin started to take over. And Martin, he did finish the stronger in that second half of the fight. It was a shame he didn't start earlier because he actually did look pretty good in spots sort of through the 7th, 8th and 9th round. And obviously he hurt Kownacki in the 10th round, but I'll get to that in a second. So if we start from the beginning, Adam Kownacki, he was just pouring on the pressure early. He was looking to land right hands behind his jab, and he was having a lot of success. And Charles Martin, through the first 3, 4, 5 rounds, he just really didn't have an answer. He looked unsure of himself. He wasn't using his jab. He wasn't using his reach advantage. He just didn't seem to have an answer for Adam Kownacki, who was basically coming forward, throwing lots of punches. It was crude, but it was extremely effective, and Martin just didn't really look sure of himself. And his defense was pretty terrible, to be honest. Actually, the defense in this fight wasn't great. Martin, he looked like he was wearing concrete boots. The movement wasn't great. The head movement wasn't great. They were both there to be hit, but Martin seemed to be taking more of the punishment in that early going. He didn't really seem to know what to do to combat that pressure. And I think I gave Adam Kownacki the first 6 rounds. The first 5, I thought, well, Kownacki, he won those. And the 6th round, it was a bit closer. But he did hurt Martin in that round. He did hurt him, noticeably hurt him in the 4th round. And also he buzzed him to some extent. I believe it was the 2nd round. But then from round 7, Martin started to actually fire up a little bit, get a bit more aggressive. He started to come on, land more straight lefts. He was starting to have a bit more of his way with Adam Kownacki, who by this time had started to slow down, wasn't quite as high volume. And because he wasn't coming forward as relentlessly and throwing as many punches, with the less volume, he was there to be hit more often, and Martin started to take advantage. And that was sort of the story for the next few rounds, and some of them were close rounds, but I did give them to Charles Martin. And then they finished on a pretty stunning sort of 10th round, actually. What happened was Charles Martin, partway through the round, because they were trading, but then Martin really hurt Kownacki. He was unloading the kitchen sink on him, and Kownacki just, he looked pretty hurt in there. And by this stage, he was sort of bleeding from the nose, I believe it was. But then out of nowhere, he just countered, and all of a sudden, he was on top. And now Martin was hurt, and for a second there, it looked like Martin might get stopped. So both guys were clearly hurt in that 10th round. And it was a really good way to end the fight. And to sort of sum it up, it was a tale of 2 fights because Kownacki was completely dominant in that first half of the fight. Whereas Martin, he really did come on stronger in the second half. And he did manage to hurt Kownacki at times. And I guess with that, I think, because Martin didn't really seem to change tack much, the movement and what he was doing in there, and his volume, what he was looking to do, didn't really change too much. It was more that Kownacki slowed down. And that's where we come to the weight issue. So Kownacki, he was 263 pounds heading into this fight. It was 3 more than the Iago Kaladze fight earlier this year in January, and 21 pounds more than when he fought Artis Bilka. That was way back in, I think, 13 months ago. Was it July of 2017? So that extra weight, I said in my preview video, I didn't think that was going to help Kownacki the longer the fight went. And I do think that was proved out. He was visibly tiring and starting to gas. He wasn't throwing as much. And because his defense isn't great to begin with, he was getting hit. He was starting to get clipped. And he's not lucky he's got a good chin, because I think if he didn't have a good chin, he probably would have been knocked out. But Martin, yeah, he just couldn't take full advantage, but he was quite tired as well. And he didn't look like he liked taking it to the body. And obviously Kownacki was having a lot of success with his right hand. And Martin, yeah, it wasn't the sort of performance. He was saying after the fight that he thought he won. But really, he started just too late. And in terms of after the fight, so the scores were announced 96-94. I didn't have any qualms with that. I thought Kownacki had done enough to win. I think I gave him the first 6 rounds, and then in terms of the last 4, well, it was a toss-up on a couple of them, but I wouldn't have been salty if, the judges had awarded Martin the last 4. But Kownacki definitely did enough to win this fight. And certainly the way that it finished, it did make up for the first half of the fight, because Charles Martin, he was disappointing. And he didn't use his reach. He didn't use his jab well, and he sort of emphasized in the post-fight that he thought he'd won and he was hurting Kownacki on the inside. But to be honest, a lot of the work he was doing on the inside, it looked to be largely ineffective for much of the fight. He should have, where he was having success later in the fight was behind the jab and then throwing that straight left down the pipe. But he just didn't do it enough, and he didn't start early enough with that work. But it was an enjoyable end to the fight. But to begin with, I was thinking, geez, Martin's not looking flash here. But we'll stay on Martin just for a second, because a number of people were saying coming into this fight, Charles Martin, he had no heart. In fact, Kownacki was saying that, and that he would fold. He wouldn't be able to respond to the pressure, and Kownacki would get him out of there. And to begin with, it was sort of started on script, and Martin didn't look comfortable in there. But I think Martin, with the way that he sort of rallied, he hung in there, and obviously came on stronger in the second part of the fight. He did himself some credit there. And I think a lot of people will have a different perspective on Charles Martin now after seeing the way that he did manage to rally and finish that fight. Clearly, Kownacki wanted to get him out of there, but Martin, he did show some wherewithal and some resolve to sort of hang tough, and he almost, he did hurt Kownacki in the 10th, and he potentially could have stopped him, but both guys could have been stopped. But I think Charles Martin does come out of this fight with some credit. I think a lot of people have been sort of willing to just jump all over him. I know I've done this before, but, I did predict coming into this fight that Martin would show a bit more, that he would actually potentially make it to the end. I did say that it wouldn't surprise me if this actually went to a decision, and this is actually what we've had. But there were spots in there where it certainly looked like Kownacki had the better of him and he would stop him, but Martin did hang tough. In terms of Adam Kownacki, well, after the fight he said it was, a good fight. He definitely thought he did enough to win, that he proved that he was a top 10 fighter. And I do believe he probably did prove that tonight. He may not be the body beautiful, and he may not have the most eye-catching style in terms of technique, but what he does do is he comes forward, brings relentless pressure, he throws a lot of punches, and he is actually pretty accurate too. It was certainly for the first half of this fight. He was landing, regular right hands on Martin. But then again, Martin's defense wasn't that flash. But yeah, certainly babyface, he did look good in the first half of that fight. But that extra weight, he's got to do something about that, because, yeah, that's not going to serve him any good heading forward, especially if he's working his way up the division to some of the top guys. I think at the moment, Charles Martin, he's sort of a top 25, top 30 guy. This is a good name for Kownacki's record. But, if he's going to have more success up the ladder, he's got to do something about the conditioning, because 263, and if he starts fading against the top guy in the division, someone will take him out. They'll land something. They'll be able to sort of throw punches and bunches and stop him. But in terms of the what next, so Kownacki, he was asked, well, do you need more seasoning fights, or are you ready for the top dogs in the division? And he did, to his credit, say, I think I need 1 or 2 more fights. And judging by that performance, it was pretty crude and rudimentary, but highly effective. I do think actually he probably does need 1 or 2 more fights just to iron a few things out, try to tighten a few things up. His defense needs to be better, but clearly he's got a great engine and he throws a lot of shots, and he needs to be in better shape for, if he is going to take on and really get some big fights in the division. But it was a highly enjoyable fight. Certainly the first half was a little bit ho-hum because it was all one way. But Charles Martin, he did show some heart. He came back. And I guess the big question is, well, who is Adam Kownacki going to fight next? I guess in terms of, if there was an intermediary opponent that he could take on, why not someone like a Marius Wok? Someone of that caliber who's got a good chin, but, he can really get some good rounds against. Someone at that level, I think potentially at the same level as Charles Martin. I think Kownacki has proven that he's just slightly a cut above, but he needs to be in better shape. What did you make of the fight? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.